Okay, so our goal is to bring local poets and poetry lovers in contact with nationally touring poets and create greater community through writing. At each of our readings, we have an opening round of 10 or so community readers. Tonight we have 11 who read a single poem each in rapid succession, either their own or one by someone else that they love. We've got all our slots full this evening, but we are always excited to have new people join us, which is something that's really wonderful about being able to do this online. So if you're interested, we have a survey, a little form for you to fill out, and we'll put your name on a list and reach out to you when we're looking for readers. Gwen will put that in the chat. You can get information about future events on our website, where you can also sign up for that newsletter I mentioned. That's openmouthreadings.com. We also post about our events on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. In addition to that, we pay all of our featured readers, and we're taking steps to increase accessibility permanently by continuing to post reading and workshop content online at our Patreon account, and by providing captioning services and access copies at workshops and readings, and ASL interpretation at workshops and readings as well. So you can read more about what we're doing to increase accessibility of the literary landscape on our website, and I'm also going to tell you more about it in just a second. You can support this work by signing up to give regularly through our Patreon, by donating at the link on our website, and by continuing to come to our events. That's the most important thing. All donations for this workshop, for this reading, go to supporting these efforts. So let me tell you a little bit about those efforts. We've been working to make our programs more accessible, both for this online format and when we're able to have in-person readings and workshops again. So we're taking the step of providing captioning. Again, you can find the captioning transcript up in the left-hand corner of the screen. So we're providing captioning, providing an ASL interpreter. If you're looking for the interpreter, her name is Megan Beatty. She's pinned here, and she has interpreter in her name. So if you need anything, reach out to her, to us. And we're collecting and offering visual aid materials, which you can find links to in the chat. We've also just completed a course with an accessibility consultant to better understand and apply the principles of accessible design. So we're really excited about the potential for access that this online format opens up. Because of it, we're able to reach people who might not otherwise be able to make our events because of everything from distance to immune systems to physical access challenges, and on days like today, weather. Even when we return to an in-person format, which we're not going to do until it's, safe from COVID-19 for, once everybody is able to be vaccinated who can do so. Once we return to in-person programming, we're working to ensure that we only work with accessible spaces. And we now plan to make sure all of our future in-person readings and workshops are simultaneously cast online. So workshops will be available on our YouTube channel after a 1-month period where they're on Patreon for early access. And here's what you can do to help us ensure the space remains accessible. Mute your microphone when you're not speaking to help cut down on distractions and background noise. Share your pronouns by editing your name to include them. And if you need help with that, you can reach out to me or Gwen or Pete, are all here from our team, and also our intern Romy is here. So any of us can walk you through how to do that. And then please give a content warning if what you're going to share might cause someone else discomfort. Remember that this is your space to use respectfully as you need. You can turn off your camera, you can use the chat function, you can make requests as you need, and then look for links to access copies in the chat. We'll also have a feedback form that we'll provide you with in the chat. We'd really like to know if you're using any of these services, how that went for you. So please do let us know. And also, we really encourage you to use the chat. One thing we miss about in-person readings is just this sense of togetherness that you get when you're all in a room together. And we find that the chat really helps bring some sense of community. So please tell each other the lines you loved, say what you thought, say what you felt. Okay. So that's all I have to say about practical details. So I'm just going to tell you, here's how it works. We're going to do our opening round. It'll be 11 opening readers tonight. And I'll read their names. And then I'll just, as we're going along, once one person finishes, I'm just going to call out the next person. So, and then we'll just take a second to readjust, and then we'll ask our dear friend Suzi F. Garcia, who is here tonight with us, to read some wonderful poems. Okay, so our opening readers tonight are Calypso Jane Selwyn, David Donna, Dayna Patterson, Leonora Simanovis, Patrick Rosal, read by Jackie Chicalese, Shannon McGill, Emma Van Dyke, Dexter Rodriguez, Lorna D. Cervantes, read by Cobris, Emma K Shibley, and Mel Mcewen. So, everybody ready to hear some poems? Yeah, cool. Okay, our first reader is Calypso Jane Selwyn.
Okay, can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Levels are good? Great. Before I get started, I do have to share a little louder. Is this good? Are we good?
That's better for me.
Okay. Okay. Great. So before we get started, I do have to share because I learned a new word this past week and it's brought me endless delight. So I wanted to share it all with you. The word in question is MILVs, M-I-L-V-E-S, and that is in fact the Tolkien high fantasy plural of the word MILF. And that's just brought me endless delight all week. And I wanted to share that because what is today for if not sharing things to delight us? Okay, poem is unrelated. Cassandra addresses the Trojan assembly. Enemies, lovers, and you who just came to watch, what's up, it's me. The problem child, the naysayer, priestess of the false epiphany, that bitch seeking audience. I demand an audience. Look, we know how this is gonna go, just let me get through it. Cuckoo says liar, kicks my own thoughts out and says liar, and it doesn't matter how good a clock I am, does it? Sorry, I'm not trying to be combative, only Apollo there in the back mouthing this is why you don't fuck crazy with that rueful smile, all God of truth earnest, and my brain swells to a thunderhead, lightning in my temples, asshole, you have plenty. No, I know he's not here. I know what you must think. I anticipate your disbelief and so assure it. None of this is on purpose at first. Tell me, is this good for you? It won't be for long. I remembered what I came to tell you. Something is coming. It will fuck your city, fuse horse to chariot, topple topless tower. You will know it on the day you go to hide in an inner room. Friends, fools, and you who just came to burn, it is at your gates. Thank you very much.
Our next poet is Dayna Patterson.
Hi, can you hear me? Yeah? Okay. Thanks so much for having me. I'm going to read a poem called Ponfar. And if you're not a Star Trek nerd, you may, I see that hell yes from Calypso. I'm like, I might not need to explain what that is, but Ponfar is the Vulcan mating ritual. Ponfar. In the absence of Vulcan mind melds and Betazoid empathic powers, we fall back on human abilities to read each other, our imperfect transference of inflected syllable and raised eyebrow, our faulty system of sentences, gestures. Would we be better off, Borg, all hive mind, hooked up to the neural paths of each other's thoughts, emptying into and drawing from the same deep reserve. No guesswork, in sync. But our tech doesn't extend that far. My laconic love, I want to touch your logical face, thumb in the dip between chin and lip, fingers bracing cheekbones arch. I want to close my eyes and exit nerves, blue shoots, channeling through your Jeffries tubes, turbo lifts, warp engine. What's hiding here on the holodeck? A banquet hall with table runners, roasted swan fistfuls of rose petals, tarnished candelabras lighting up a boar's head on a wall. I want the old blood fever to take, blaze the cold grate. So even across the room, we can sense each other's temperatures rise. You in dress uniform or no uniform at all.
I don't know how you make being a Borg sound so sexy, but there was just something about that reading. Thank you. Our next poet is Leonora Simanovis.
Hello, can you hear me okay? All right. So just content warning, there's some violence in the poem. And it's titled Anatomy of Jellyfish. So many of them scattered by the storm, each cloudy dome a galaxy of azure and cerise hues. They trust their bond with the current, and what is the alternative? I think of Caracas, where a multitude of marches toward the government palace. They're serenaded by bullets under the range of an open sky. Groups of jellyfish are called smacks, but I prefer bloom, as in a state of beauty highlighted by death. A young protester, face up, black hole on his forehead, matter and light imploding within. A jellyfish's tendrils reaching toward the wet body of the ocean. I want to touch them, but have been stung. The welts embedded in memory. Mine is a need to transmute loss into understanding the burning throb of skin on skin, the power to sting without guilt, to walk away without remorse. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonora. And I'm so glad that you're here. It's wonderful to see you again.
Me too, thank you.
Leonora was came to our retreat that we hosted and was a wonderful member of that community. Okay, so our next reader is Jackie Chicalese.
Hi everyone. So this is Patrick Rosal's Children Walk on Chairs to Cross a Flooded Schoolyard. Hardly anything holds the children up, each poised mid-air, barely the ball of one small foot kissing the chair's wood so they don't just step across, but pause above the water. I look at that cotton mangle of a sky post-typhoon and presume it's holding something back. In this country, it's the season of greedy gods and the several hundred cathedrals worth of water they spill onto little tropic villages like this one, where a girl is likely to know the name of the man who built every chair in her school by hand, 6 of which are now arranged into a makeshift bridge so that she and her mates can cross their flooded schoolyard. Boys in royal blue shorts and red rain boots, the girls brown and bare-toed in starched white shirts and pleated skirts. They hover like bells that can choose to withhold their one clear, true bronze note, until all this nonsense of wind and drizzle dies down. One boy even reaches forward into the dark, sudden pool below, towards someone we can't see, and at the same time, without looking, seems to offer the tips of his fingers back to the smaller girl behind him. I want the children ferried quickly across so they can get back to slapping one another on the neck and cheating each other at checkers. I said time and time again, I don't believe in mystery. And then I'm reminded what it's like to be in America, to kneel beside a 6-year-old, to slide my left hand behind his back and my right under his knees, and then carry him up a long flight of stairs to his bed. I can feel the fine bones, the little ridges of the spine with my palm, the tiny smooth stone of the elbow. I remember I've lifted a sleeping body so slight, I thought the whole catastrophic world could fall away. I forget how disaster works, how it can turn a child back into glistening butterfish or finches. And then they'll just do what they do, which is teach the rest of us how to move with such natural gravity. Look at these two girls center frame, who hold out their arms as if they are finally remembering they were made for other altitudes. I love them for their particular joy of returning to Earth. Not an ounce of impatience, the simple thrill of touching ground. Thank you.
Thank you, Jackie. I really love it when people share other voices in this space too. So I really appreciate you reading a poem by someone else. Thank you. Our next poet is Shannon McGill.
Oh, sorry. Let me get to where I can see everything. Okay, it looks like on the picture or on the list that I was doing We Are, but I had sent in Build-A-Bay because it was my Valentine's poem. Do I need to do the We Are?
Megan, are you could you interpret a poem that
What was the name of
Build-A-Bay.
Build-A-Bay? Okay. Yeah, I'll do my best.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Could I build my perfect lover? From experience, I suppose, feelings left behind, others waiting to be uncovered by a song, smell, taste, or texture. What do I pine for and miss the most? I think it's your skin. Your skin has to feel so good on you that you refuse to remove it for anyone, as I demand that you let me experience it on top of mine. We have our own playlist. We hear it together while it blasts from speakers or plays gently in our minds for our bodies alone. We slow dance in the parking lot while the moon shines her spotlight just for us. Our slow strides match, keeping us forever in time. You live with a proud passion that tickles everything you touch. My emotions amuse but never exhaust you. You fight for me, even though we know I will defend myself. You treat me like a lady but leave bite marks on my thighs. You wake and bake with me while you get your fingers tangled in my hair. Your power floats and intertwines with mine, always encouraging, never dwarfing the other. We live in each other's heartbeats, beating in unison, whether we are in the same room or hundreds of miles apart. It sounds like a lot when it's all on paper. Just imagine how much of me you'll receive in return. It's all of me. You're curious, aren't you? I would be too. But one more question. What's your return policy? That's it.
And then you always have that like wonderful humor, like wonderful thing at the end of your poems. I love it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next poet is Emma Van Dyke, who just got a wonderful grant for her poems, the Artist 360 grant. So thanks for being here and sharing a poem with us, Emma.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. I was going through my work and looking for something that would be even halfway suitable for Valentine's Day, and I came up with a creepy sonnet, so I hope you enjoy. This is called Opal Sonnet, and it starts with an epigraph from Mylan Solly of the Smithsonian. Much like fossilization turns bone into stone, opalization can render organic specimens opal's hapless prisoners. Milk poison, dandelion stem, pierced by glistening thumbnail, string of white sap stretches to thread, then snaps. It wants your damp, it wants mucous membrane, menace of a yellow beam, knife light, single searching eye, peering up through cold water, a bobbing yellow lantern in deep water trench. Look at me, it says. What color am I truly? Settle on my slick skin, you mayfly. Don't look away. Nothing's waiting, clinging to dripping stalactite, extending slowly its tendrils. Look closer, friend. Thanks.
Thank you, Emma. I really love clinging to dripping. That just a cool move. Our next poet is Dexter Rodriguez, who also just has a wonderful thing. She is going to be one of our residents at our new open mouth residency. So Dexter, thanks for being here. I think you're muted, Dexter.
Okay. Oh no, now I lost my point. Oh gosh, just a sec. Okay, got it. Okay. Mine is not a victory garden. I mean, there is nothing edible unless you are counting the herbs, but the peppermint and chocolate mint. Hold on. Sorry. Tickle my hand as I pass, and the lush oregano leaves a fragrant trail. The rosemary begs to be pinched, and I scoop up a bit of lemon balm. We can brew for a fine tea later. It will go with the sour cream pound cake already in the oven. And if we are suffering, I want more of this. My handsome gardener takes my hand and walks me down the stone path and delights in the new blooms with me, and I marvel, and shares his dream of building things, and I marvel at how fascinating he is. Even now, I cannot believe I wake up to the dew and go to sleep with him wrapped around me. Make me some honey coffee and come back to bed. I want to say, we have lost time to catch up on while we suffer together in our newfound victory.
Thank you, Dexter. Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next poet is Cobris.
Can you guys hear me? Thank you for having me. Today I'm reading Valentine by Lorna D. Cervantes. Cherry plums suck a week's soak. Overnight they explode into the scenery of Before Your Touch. The curtains open on the end of our past. Pink trumpets on the vines bear to the hummingbirds. Butterflies unclasp from the purse of their couplings. They light and open on the doubled hands of eucalyptus fronds. They sip from the pistils for 7 generations that bear them through another tongue as the first year of our punishing mathematic begins, clicking the calendar forward. They land like seasoned rocks on the decks of the cliffs. They take another turn on the spiral of life where the blossoms blush, and pale in a day of dirty dawn, where the ghost of you webs your limbs through branches of cherry plum. Rare bird, extinct color, you stay in my dreams in X-ray. In rerun, the bone of you stripping sweethearts folds and layers the shedding petals of my grief into a decayed hologram, my forever empty heart.
I love that. Thank you. And our next poet is Emma K. Shipley, who I want to thank for helping us do transcriptions. Thank you, Emma.
Absolutely. Can you all hear me okay? I'm coming in from my phone. All right. While I pull my poem up to read, thank you again for having me. I'm so excited to join from Atlanta, Georgia, where I live. And I'm excited to keep being a part of the programming as I can, even from a state or a few states away. This poem I wrote a couple of years ago, and I want to preface it with a line from a song by Lucy Dacus. In 5 years, I hope these songs feel like covers dedicated to new lovers. So happy Valentine's Day to my current love, who this poem is not about. Okay. This is called Please Do Not Have Sex with My Brother. I am dehydrate. I am vitamin D deficient. I am dissociate. I am a hoe for some good birth order theory. Best friend, she hedge, please do not have sex. Chuck, I hear, I listen, I lie. Not bros, but close. I memorize every inch of your arms, floss behind knees, drop socks, laugh so hard my ears pop. For you, I learned the word hirsute. We've put our feet up on the coffee table enough to weak the hinges, blur the right angles, hold stains like unfinished wood. What can I get started for you this morning? Perhaps a poem? Warning signs include getting affairs in order, giving away prized possessions, and tying up loose ends. Can you smell the danger? Same mail being delivered over and over. Mailbox gets audited. Pour yawns into mouth and spill. Please forgive the sunburn dribbling onto my chin. Like a plant, unceased, desperate, turning towards the sun. I Googled Dada, and all I got you was these lousy shoes. I am told I have a distinctive walk, a fraction. I over blush, I over bruise. I muse, hero, a hero walk. Hero slide, hero slip score, hero's hip sore. Sexual aftermath, crisp chords. Small pond seem big, big fish seem small. Pond fish seem smug, small fish beam gone. To do, ask why you felt sad yesterday delivering pizza. Big fog, sneeze smog, smig fosh seem pog. Spleen mond, scene fond. End split, my hair is long enough to braid to sleep. Supine people wake up in time to pee the sheets. The caramel at McDonald's gives me a migraine. If two trains are going, are they truly two trains? Proprioception, knowing where the limbs are at all times. Maybe love, maybe performance studies. Weepy peeps, weepy peeps. Old rewriting, new medicine. Tuck in traum to little warm armpit. Dropped fork, company coming. Oh, I am very, very smart. Pete tells me about the love triangle in his high school online health class. No triangle, true. Two love rays, really. 2 points on a shared plane of love, fleeing in separated directions. Leah and Moira, they rhyme. You have a type, I say, that elegant, romantic schwa sound at the end of the name. Leah, Moira, a heave of assonance. They both end in hesitation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Emma. I love that. And our final poet is Mel McCuin. You're muted, Mel.
Of course I am. That is going to be my slogan for 2020 and 2021. You are muted. So hi, my name is Mel McCuin, and I'm going to read a poem for you called From Bird to Barn Swallow. And I was thinking about this poem in relation to the fact that it's Valentine's Day, and I felt a little strange reading it. I don't know if this bears a content warning, but I'll give it. This is a poem about death and about the aftermath of violence. You know, one time a couple years ago, I was in a Lyft and my Lyft driver asked me to read him a poem because the subject of poetry had come up, and I said, you know, I don't want to. I pretty much only write about death. and he said, come on, you know, let's do this. So I read the poem to him, and it happened to be a poem about my father's funeral. And he, you know, looked at me through the rearview mirror and said, you know, that sounds like love to me. So you never know how, I guess, people will interpret a poem. So this is From Bird to Barn Swallow. In my last moments, before I coughed my guts onto the pavement, while hot wind raked my feathers, she, all beak and awkward neck, leaned over me, craning to meet my eyes. She was so tall and took up so much sky, but she stood apart from me and held her breath. While I panted and flopped my wings, she watched me die and said a prayer. I had traveled through her life as a metaphor and an omen, but only when I was dead did she say my name, because in my death, she saw how we are kin. Thank you.
Thank you, Mel. And what a beautiful idea to wrap up an opening reading on a day that's, you know, for better or worse, celebrating love. And love is a kind of kinship. So I'm just gonna go straight into, I'm gonna read you Suzi Garcia's bio and invite Suzi to the stage. Thank you so much to our opening readers, and thank you, Megan, for adjusting to that last minute thing. I love hearing the opening readers, like how the poems begin to sort of speak to one another. This is such a cool part of this. Okay, so Suzi F. Garcia is the author of the chapbook A Home Grown Fairytale from Bouquet in 2020. She's the executive editor of Noemi Press, an online editor for the Michigan Quarterly Review. She was raised in Arkansas, but now resides in the Midwest with her partner and their 2 cats. And I actually, Suzi, I don't know if we talked about this earlier, but we went to elementary school together.
I thought we went to junior high together for some reason.
Probably both.
Probably both. Klasky?
Yeah,
both. Okay. Maybe not, because they did like that weird grade change when I was there.
Did. It was like, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, I did 9th grade in high school. Yeah. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, I knew that we knew each other, but for some reason I thought it was junior high and high school. But I guess our whole lives. And I also see some familiar names and faces as well from undergrad in the audience. So thanks to everybody. I really say it often. I miss Arkansas. I miss the South a lot. Yeah, it was an informative place. I was not born there, but I lived in Fort Smith and then moved to Little Rock at a very early age. So it's good to be kind of home when you can't be home. So thank you all for having me. Thank you so much, Megan, for your amazing work. We were talking about how much fun it was to have you this afternoon earlier before the reading started, and it's been so much fun to watch you during the reading as well. So thanks to everybody for sharing those beautiful poems too, both of your own and from those that you admire. It's so great to be in this little collective space. Love takes many different forms, and I definitely love being here tonight. I am going to read some poems from my chapbook, A Home Grown Fairytale, which is a collection of poems centered around Dorothy Gale from The Wizard of Oz. and kind of an unrequited, well, a kind of aftermath of a failed romance with her situation. So I'm going to start with a poem, A Dream, a Gale. I was the middle, where the southern and northern winds met, where the house still stood an inexact center. We were torn apart at the last moment, darling, and our joints unhinged. The wind was a violence that whipped my hair, and when we settled, we did not get all the right parts. My hand has never moved like the water again, a freckle on your nose I'd not seen before. This was not a condemnation. I felt blessed. In Oz, we prism, blur borders, become stateless. Dorothy, you are the last of the miracle. Okra, I can never say that word, runs through your veins. Breathe out, gilded air. I started for California, made a stop at the first place that there was water. I received word that there was no gold left in Hollywood. Not for me, not for you. Dorothy, it doesn't matter. We can go full burlesque if you want. A show in Vegas every night until you're ready to return to Oz. There are lights on the strip too, Dorothy. Okay. The next poem is Anamorphic Identity. When we are in Oz, we are not wolf girl, not pumpkin girl, not munchkin girl, not brown girl, not country girl. We are girl, 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 girl. Mira, we are essence there. At any moment, we could even turn witch. Or we could percolate behind the walls, become China doll girl, our skin brittling, our skin brittling porcelain in our sleep, our shoes fusing to our bodies. Careful, careful. We could break at any moment. Everyone around us must step cuidado in our presence. Everyone clear a path. Everyone step back. The breath they hold will sound like reverence, but it will be fear. Is there a difference? After all, you can bring everyone you love to Oz, but you cannot make them wear heels. I have invested in Oz and Sacrament and waterproof mascara. Technicolor is kept in your pockets, and I am scouring the country for taste. My fingernails are torn and bloody as I search dirt for silver shoes, create maps of absence on my skin. I ink silence with safety pins, tricks I learned in youth that still hold me over. Loneliness is not the end, and I have the scars to prove it. After all, life is finite, and that may be the last hope I have left. Wilderness wandering. I've been invisible so long, a survival strategy on the fringe, and then I have become my own determination, finding my escape, if any can be found, in an ancient Honda and a couple of tanks of gas. My bones grit against one another. I have been in one place too long, so I will immigrate, seek to be foreign again. Be with me while I search, Dorothy. Remember our covenant, because I see it in the eyes of every salty body on the dance floor, waves that move me towards you and away again. And this is the final poem I'm going to read from the chapbook. It's called Confession. I admit it, there are things I haven't escaped. I run in an airport even though it doesn't matter if I miss my flight. No one waits for me in the next city or the next or the next. Crossing state lines, I am pulled. I know I could find a home, ancient and physical, in the Amazon, among treetops and temple sites, but I have discovered folklore and myth are natural as falling into sleep under poppies, as love between you and me. We have become historical. We are the old story now fresh. Remember the sunsets? I hide them in the forests. They have seen the birds flee the loneliness. They know what is in my heart. Okay. And the final poem I'm going to read has nothing to do with love. And it's unpublished because I always like to throw in a poem that isn't already out in the world, just to kind of keep it fresh, keep it clean, etc., etc. So this one is entitled "The Wolf in Me." It took a long time for the wolf to trust me. I spent years on the beach watching the wolf cry from rocks, warbling the then sharp howl while I closed my eyes toward light. I lay in the sand and tried to write new words, honeyed words of adoration to the wolf's song. But instead, it was the same word over and over, one I could not form my lips over until I thought the wolf a personal god, but there was no salvation. My heart did not just fill, it overflowed, and I could not unhear the wolf's cry, so I wept back. Eventually, I stopped all prayers, resorted to begging, though nothing helped. I was lost, and I tried to drown myself, swimming as far as I could and stopping my movements and space blue pressed my body against gravity, but somehow I floated. The howl piercing through the water and pulling me back up even when I wanted to stay down. So at night, I began to leave fish for the wolf on a stone. I walked towards him while he ate, and when he growled, I sat in place. This is a process that would take time, and I had nothing else. Each night the same, but closer and closer, until one night he said he ate beside me. He was bigger than I ever imagined, not dog size, but monster size. I sat beside my wolf, my head at his shoulder, and reached up to touch his throat. His fur was gritty, full, and solid. For a moment, I envisioned just me and the wolf running away from the beach, leaving the sun and water behind. My hand in his fur. We kept pace in my momentary dream, and we ran too fast for any voice to keep up. But I knew the wolf would never leave, and he would never stop crying. I sat beside him again the next night in the moonless dark and watched while he ate my last offering. When he fell unconscious where he sat, I pulled my wolf to the ocean. His fur no longer solid, but slippery and heavy with wetness. I held his head underwater, the salt burning my cracked lips. Finally, I let his body go. I felt it fall away. And for a moment before I followed him, I could at last hear my heartbeat drumming out his song. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzi. It felt so fast. I wasn't ready.
Yes, it was a little faster than I expected, but I don't want to add any more just in case, because I think we've tested Megan enough tonight.
That was just really amazing and beautiful. And I love you're getting like all these wows and dams in the chat over here. So I hope you're watching it.
Thank you all.
So yeah, I guess I just want to say, we can hang out here for a while if you want. But just to thank everybody again for sharing their work tonight, for reading with us, for spending your Valentine's Day listening to and participating in poetry community, and thinking about love. So I hope that you will consider buying Suzi's book. We've put a link to it in the chat. That's a really important thing for poets, to get their work out there. And that's part of why we do readings, as we all well know. So please do. And also, if you have a chance, fill out that access feedback form for us if you used any of these services, just so that we know what's helpful, how it's going, anything we can do better. We really want to know. Yeah, so I will invite everybody to jump in and be here in community if you want. Just want to say thanks once again to everybody for being so beautiful and perfect and amazing, and to Suzi also for those things, and to Megan, of course, for being just like a baller. if anybody has any like questions or things they want to talk about or whatever, just jump in. It's so weird, like on Zoom. I
have a question.
Okay.
Why Dorothy?
Dorothy was like really formative for me when I was growing up. Wizard of Oz was my favorite movie, and I read like all of the books. I still have a ton of books. You probably can't see them, but I have books everywhere from the Wizard of Oz. It's like, honestly, it was a formative text. That and Anne of Green Gables were my two really, I would say, formative texts. But the Wizard of Oz had this like really gritty realism to its fantasy life, and it's also one of the it's considered like the American fairy tale kind of because of its origins here and the way that it's got this kind of sad Dust Bowl-esque thing going on, but it's really interesting the way like there's the hungry tiger who is always hungry and he's never full because he likes to eat babies, but he has a conscience, so he would never actually eat babies. So he just is sad all the time and hungry all the time. Ozma, who's this like amazing like female monarch, etc. So I think that there are some really like cool and weird things happening in that land. And also Return to Oz is like, if y'all haven't seen that movie will mess with you. It's pretty cool.
Pete asked in the chat, what's your favorite Oz book?
Probably Ozma of Oz, just because I like the backstories. I like world building a lot, and I do think the Wizard of Oz does that really well. And I also like the one where there is, oh gosh, what's her name? I can't think of it right now. But there's like a full female army who takes over Oz one day, except for she gets really bored because she's just like a brat and doesn't really want to rule. And it's like not this like anti-female thing, because then she gives back the like monarch, she gives back the Oz to Ozma, and Glinda is also there. Like a lot of really strong female like figures, but it was, I don't know, I really like, she's like the Alexis Rose of Oz or something, and I love her. Any other questions?
I have a question. This is Mel. The last poem you read, it gave such a beautiful kind of reading, and I was just kind of curious about the story behind it. I like to hear about processes and stories behind poems, if you don't mind sharing.
You know, that one I'm not 100% sure. I've been working on it for a long time. I work on poems for a very long time. So that might be a final version, but I've been working on it for at least a year, probably, in different formations. And it's gone really long and really short. But most of my writing's about depression and anxiety. So I don't think you have to dig too hard into that one to see it there. But and also, you know, animals are a big part of my life. My cats are like, my partner sometimes traveled for work, etc. And I really consider my pets like to be my companions. And I think now that especially we're all home all the time, and I've always been mainly working at home, so I've always had like a really special connection with my pets, and like animals are very much a part of my writing as well.
Thank you.
Thank you for the question.
I love that. Also, there's like a fairy tale element of that, you know, that like the wolf as like fairy tale symbol, of course, but also like the way that poem is told, you know, the like voice you inhabit there is real fairy tale-ish too. I like that thread of like Oz and then that.
Yeah, I think narratives like that are really what we grow up to, and sometimes we can kind of get lost in trying to make things weird or funny or interesting, and sometimes stories are just best told like a story. And so for me, I don't always go there, but for me that one felt right in that kind of voice.
Dexta says in the chat that you have a wonderful reading voice, Suzi.
Oh, thank you. You know, I do that thing though where I can't remember how to say a word, so I'll like listen to it 80 times and still say it wrong. I was really trying not to say okra tonight instead of, now I don't know. Ochre. The word is ochre, and I always want to say okra. And I've got it in my head. I do that. Where you're just like, I like this poem, but I can't say the word that's in it.
I definitely do that too with, yeah. And like, it's the thing where you ask somebody how something's said and then you just don't listen. Like it's like your brain is like, nope, not going to hear that.
Yeah, it's like, okay, cool. No. No. Or you like try to tell yourself something so hard that it does the opposite. It's like, don't say okra, don't say okra, okra. Yeah.
Emma Shibley said that she was sure that Dorothy had okra in her veins.
I mean, she was country. She was country like all of us. So I'm sure she did. If she was raised right.
Yeah.
I'm sure Auntie M can make a mean pot of fried okra.
We had a wonderful experience a couple of years ago. We did a workshop, the harvest workshop that Gwen led alongside Ross Gay. And one of the assignments was to sort of find, it was on a farm, it was like on this teaching farm. And one of the assignments involved naming flowers, and okra happened to be in bloom at the time. And so suddenly there were like okra flowers in every poem, and it was really lovely. They're surprisingly beautiful. I didn't expect that.
That must have been wonderful. I love Ross. He's like literally one of the most generous people I've ever met in my entire lives. He's just, and to do on a teaching farm, he must have been freaking out. He must have loved that. It was like him in his element.
It was really beautiful to just, it was cool. And we hope to do that again someday. But yeah, Gwen is like an excellent gardener and knower of how to grow things. So it was very cool to like see them work together on that.
He told me like the funniest thing once. He was just like, I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were talking about poems and like truths and ideas in them. And he was like, you can just make stuff up. And I was like, stop. I was like, I guess you can, but do you? And he was like, yeah, sometimes I make stuff up. And I was like, come on, Ross, sometimes I tell people things. And like, now I'm like, propagating untruths based on poetry. But I was like, it makes sense. Of course you can. Why wouldn't you be able to? But at the same time, like, I never knew like that he did, I'm just like, ooh, what you saying? What's not true?
Fact, I learned it in a poem. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, maybe that's not the best place to learn things anyway.
But it happened. I mean, that for me, I'm like, oh my God, is that true? And also I saw earlier, I think Dayna responded to Emma's poem, didn't know about opalization, but what if Emma just made it up?
Oh my gosh. The truth is sometimes so cool that like lies don't work as well, but like sometimes a good lie works really well. So
that would be great though, to like make up an entire epigraph for a poem from like someone fake at the Smithsonian. That's smart. I might have to do that. Yeah.
Like Nazi literatures of the Americas, right? By Roberto Bolaño. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Made up the Smithsonian too. Smithsonian's fake. Has anyone actually been there?
Smithsonian's fake. Yeah. Checkmate.
Fake news.
It's the real conspiracy is that there is a Smithsonian. It's a hoax. Okay. Yes. Sorry, I'm getting punchy. Yeah, does anybody else have any questions they want to ask or anything they want to say or any like just I love yous to send into the world? Okay. Well, I think that we'll let you all go and be with your cats or your people or your warm cups of tea and enjoy the rest of this evening. Suzi, really grateful to have you here, and thank you to all of our opening readers and to Megan. I'm putting Suzi's chapbook link in the chat one more time, so don't forget to click on that and go buy Suzi's book before you leave. And hopefully we'll see all of you again next month. we'll have Rebecca Morgan Frank here. That's all for me. I love you all. Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.